taxes, inflation, and the breakdown of the family are causing us to fall behind. We have the lowest net worth in the United States, and I'm sure those numbers cross the border as well.
Some people get the disability tax credit and they don't open the registered disability savings plan, and that's where the government puts in all the money of grants and bonds for a person with a disability who has done all the steps. Some people don't do all the steps.
Good morning, everybody. It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast and News Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers that's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And being part of that team, our team since 2020 has reached out directly and indirectly to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. And we just finished doing our first Fatherhood Summit virtual last week, and it was a huge success. One of the great components, we ran it over last Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And during the daytime, you had access to conversations with fatherhood experts and influencers. And in the evening time, we had live coaching for fathers from 9 to 10. And let me tell you, they were incredibly powerful conversations from that. So that's made us saying, yeah, we've got to do more of this. But it was an incredible, incredible experience. We're broadcasting live today on September 30th. Yes, September done. September done. Now, the way I think, I'm already thinking 2025. But yes, there are a few more months left in the year. October, November, December. But the last quarter of the year is coming fast. And here in Toronto, we're still getting fantastic weather. Like, my goodness, this is like spring weather we're getting in fall. I know it ain't going to last forever, hey, but let's take it while we can. Now, my co-host, Mr. Ryan Knight, is supposed to be here today. I don't know where he is. He has the link to get in, and we were looking forward to broadcasting his segment on Dragon's Den, where he got, for his company, Detailing Knights, $150,000 for a 25% share of the company. Now, for those who are watching, what should I do, or what should we do? Should we watch it without him, or should we hold back until I don't know if he doesn't show up today. I hope everything's okay. I haven't heard anything from him, but should we wait for him and do the broadcast when he shows up? Like, I put a nice banner together to promote this. It's all out everywhere, and the man not here. So I don't know what to do. So what should I do, people? Should I play the video without him there? I can't really do it justice. Or should we have a friend who I've known for a long time who's going to be with us all today. Should we just bring her up for the full segment? I don't know what to do. So I want to hear in the comment section what you want to do. But before we get there, a few things. First things first, subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. And get us to 1,570 subscribers. We are almost there, getting close. And share it out. Share it out. If you're like what you're seeing and hearing, share it out. Also, like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms that I'm a part of. Please feel to email me, dr.vibe@thedrvibeshow.com. And then also, join the Morning Vibe Discord group where we continue the conversation in between shows. And then we can't forget Indie Soup Media. And you're going to say, what's Indie Soup Media? Well, let me tell you what Indie Soup Media is. It's a online network for independent content creators. There's about 40 of them. It's been around for about 6 months. And there's about over 18,000 YouTube subscribers. And the nice thing is, it's run by our good friend from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Dr. Tachi. So you'll see edited versions of 3 of the conversations or shows that I do on that platform every week. So I'm going to encourage you to check it out. Well, you know what? And we'll do, I'll bring up the star of the show. He's given us time to show up. Wearing orange today.
Yes, happy Truth and Reconciliation Day to our brothers that met a gentleman, Christopher Gugu, and he runs an organization in Nova Scotia, the Indigenous Foundation, and they are doing such amazing work that I feel their organization of their community is like 10, 15 years ahead of the Black community. We could learn a lot about how to organize and get ourselves working in one vein. So yes, definitely wanted to support our brothers and sisters.
What's going on?
Trying to ease into, I guess, people recognizing me because they saw me on TV that I didn't know. So that's always interesting transition. But things are good.
How's living with fame?
Hey, that's right. They say don't let it change you, right? Don't let it change you.
Well, are you gonna be famous or infamous or neither or both?
Oh, brother, what do they say? Only time will tell. They never know how the mighty will fall. You just try to keep yourself grounded. The missus, so shout out to Cher and the kids. They do a good job of that. So I always remember to stay humble.
100%. Before we go any further, we're broadcasting live on September 30th. If you're around on October 1st, October 1st at 9 p.m., just tomorrow, this is going to be happening. We are going to, based on the success of our watch party for the debate between Ms. Harris and 45, tomorrow night, the U.S. VP debate party, live watch party is on tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. And there's Mr. Waltz with the glasses and Mr. Vance with the beard. So we're going to be hanging out with them at 9 p.m. tomorrow. So if you're not doing anything and you want some good infotainment, as we like to say, infotainment, this is what's happening tomorrow, 9 p.m. watch party Eastern. And Ryan's going to be there. Wayne Harris is going to be there. Cesar Nadima Musa is going to be there. We have Aisha K. Staggers, Laura Lala Key, and Dr. Tachi from the U.S. So those are 3 African-American queens from the U.S., 3 African-Canadian kings from Canada. And we also have a new person who wants to join in, a lady, Colleen, who is based in the Waterloo area, who's a member of the City Council of Waterloo, who is a political junkie. So she said she wanted in on that. So we're going to have that. And she's going to be probably once a month, starting next month, coming in and talking about a number of different topics in regards to politics from an African-Canadian perspective.
Excellent.
So that's happening. And then, oh, look at this. Good morning, Miss Harriet. Good morning. Hope you are doing fine. So the real reason we're here is Ryan, not me.
Not even.
Not our good friend. So as I said before we started off, Ryan had the pleasure of securing for his company $150,000 for 25% of Detailing Knights. So we were getting a little bit worried, saying, is Brian going to, is he so famous he's forgotten? He doesn't even want to be on the program anymore. And this is probably the first place where we're doing on Black media, Black-owned media, which is just interesting. Has anyone from Black media reached out to you?
Not yet. There was a podcast that had reached out to say they wanted to have me come on the show. So Shirley Joseph, she was asking if I could come on her podcast. Okay. But yeah, no, I know we've sent it out to let people know that it's happening. So we're waiting for some callbacks.
All right.
All right. Always start here.
Yes. All right. Well, we're going to show the episode right now. So we got it here. So let's make sure we can see it. Can everyone see it? All right. So this is Ryan Knight's episode from Dragon's Den. Here we go.
Knocking on doors puts you on your chest.
Oh yeah.
When you work with our
It makes you the strongest. I know I've done doors.
Right? When you go door to door and
The
talk to a
best training
client,
to be an entrepreneur is knock on people's doors. It is so hard.
Look at this guy with his
An
shoulders.
entrepreneur from Toronto, hoping the Dragons will appreciate his attention to detail.
Dragons, my name is Ryan Oneil Knight. here from Ajax, Ontario, pitching for $150,000 for 18% of my company, Detailing Knights Canada. We provide mobile, waterless car cleaning using plant-based eco-friendly cleaning supplies. But what best to demonstrate than going out and finding the dirtiest car in the parking lot?
The dirtiest car in the parking lot. I love it.
It's not Weston.
That car is never dirty. What happened to my car?
Whoa.
Oh,
If the car comes with the deal, I'm in.
hey Ryan, if you scratch that bad boy, I'm coming after you, man.
But Detailing Knights, we provide mobile waterless car cleaning, going to clients' homes or their offices, cleaning their cars on the spot without using water. Over the years, we've worked with over 5,000 clients. Wow. Clients include Zipcar, Enterprise Auto Share, and car dealerships around the city. But I feel the next evolution of our company is franchising. So is it crazy for a knight to be here asking a dragon for help? Wes, you want to come check it out? See
Absolutely, man. I gotta check it out. Check that bad boy out.
Detailing Knights has 3 locations in the Greater Toronto area.
And you'll notice it is not scratching.
Oh, yeah.
So we're able to go to a person's house.
Packages range from basic detailing for $129 to a premium exterior and interior clean for $279.
Whoever owns this Ferrari shouldn't own a Ferrari. Seriously.
Well, appreciate that.
That's good, man.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Questions?
Well done. I approve.
Yeah.
Ryan, so I've never heard of waterless cleaning. So what's the advantages?
It really helps to increase convenience. Also, instead of wasting 100 gallons of water cleaning a car, we're able to use only 6 ounces.
So what's your story? What's your background?
Yeah. You know, I started the company back in 2009, was laid off 2 weeks before my wedding, and that was a real gut shot. And
No
it
kidding.
reminded me that my dad always said, hey, if you want to control your own destiny, start a business.
So true.
Being able to start the business and use it as a tool to teach others to start businesses too. Because I've gone through College Pro Painters. I know you've hired through College Pro Painters. So I love the concept of being able to teach high school, university students to show them they have the potential to start a business by using our company as a mini example.
But the road to success is paved with hundreds of car detailing companies, like
Right.
hundreds.
Yes. The thing I love right now is there's no household name in car cleaning. So
Right.
we want to
Okay.
become that household name, similar to Molly Maid.
Yeah.
I know Wow One Day Painting is a household name. So being able to take car cleaning into that open space to actually have a proper system that you can put in a box, teach to anybody in any city where there are cars around the world, that's what we want to build here.
Well, if only there was a dragon on this panel who knew something about franchising.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Cleaning, home
Yeah.
services, with
Cleaning.
massive
Shack Shine. You can do Ride Shine.
So what were your revenues in 2023?
I'll say on average 120. The downtown area did about 150,
Altogether?
over 400,000.
What will you do this year?
We're projecting to hit that 500,000. I want to see each location do 150 each. That to me proves the viability that we can open up a new city.
How much money did you make on the 400K last year?
Gross is about 48%.
Are you paying yourself a salary?
No,
How are you living without a salary?
I do work part-time for a nonprofit, the Afro Caribbean Business Network. So that does offer a bit of salary, but I'm ready to go full
Could you
100%.
talk about that network?
Absolutely. So we started the Afro Caribbean Business Network about 6 years ago, and it was really because I was building back from a personal bankruptcy. I didn't have the support around me to build this company properly. So we brought 6 other entrepreneurs together to create an entity that would help them exponentially grow their companies. And to date, we have over 6,000 Black entrepreneurs in our network.
Amazing.
We do micro lending, we do
Amazing.
marketing and sales for them. We work with youth that are out of detention to show them they have the potential to start a business.
You're a real community builder, Ryan.
I appreciate that, Manjeet.
What would you charge for a franchise?
So about 25,000 would get you up and going.
That's it? No franchise fee?
There's no percentage.
Oh, the royalty.
Yeah, the royalty.
Right, we do 8% of sales.
8% of sales. Okay,
It's pretty standard.
that's pretty standard.
I'm reading your book, that's why.
Oh, you are? Awesome. Thank you. You have some franchise experience having been with College Pro.
Yes.
Some of our best people have come from College Pro. They nail how to systematize a business. Why do you want a franchise?
I feel being able and learning from them that you can put a business in a box, and learning how to to paint houses is way more difficult than cleaning cars, I feel.
Yeah,
so if you
right.
can teach a college student or a high school student or a university student how to start a painting company, that business in a box, I feel, is really powerful. And one of my missions is to teach young entrepreneurs that they can start businesses. And then from there, we're able to grow with them.
I'm a big fan of that too. I think when you start really early becoming an entrepreneur, it's so much easier to grow out. College Pro is very good at getting their franchisees to find customers by door knocking. How do you acquire customers?
We love door knocking. And to me, knocking on doors puts hair on your chest.
Oh yeah. It makes you the strongest. I knocked on doors.
Right? And that to me battle tests you. And even when we talk to our high school and college students, when you go door to door and
the
talk to a
best training
client,
to be an entrepreneur is knock on people's doors.
And
It is so hard.
all that teaches you how to be resilient.
Yeah.
And for me, entrepreneurship is persistency and consistency.
You're very impressive. You really are.
appreciate
You're
that.
very impressive.
Thank you so much.
This is a space we've been following forever. We knew that one day we would be in the space. It makes sense. We shine people's homes. Why not shine their rides?
Yes.
What excites me the most about this is you.
Okay.
You're building a community with a massive smile. You believe in entrepreneurship.
100%.
I will give you the 150 you're asking for, but I want 25% of the business.
All right.
It's a great offer.
You're very impressive.
Thank you so much.
And you think big, which is what we want on the show.
Yes,
We want
go
people who
worldwide.
think big. But as far as investing, I'm going to be out.
Ryan, I love what you're doing for the community. Congratulations. What you've done this far. I wish you luck, but I'm out.
Okay. I think you as a founder has an enormous amount of presence, of optimism, and of grit. And I would back you in a heartbeat. I think on this deal, you have, a way stronger partner. I'm going to be out.
I support the work you're doing to build up other entrepreneurs.
Yes, appreciate that.
Sometimes in our community, we go, I'm successful, so everybody else can stand behind me. And you're bringing everybody else along. That's fantastic. But I'm going to be out because I think you have an amazing partner already.
I'll kick myself if I don't ask. Are you willing to do 22.5?
Ryan, you have 3 locations. This man can take you nationally. Okay? Whatever you're going to haggle over and negotiate over pales in comparison to what he's going to be able to do for you.
I got to stick to the 25.
Brian, you got a deal. Appreciate you. Thank you. Awesome. Great meeting you.
Great meeting you. Thank you, Ryan.
Brian's going to be a great partner for him.
He's going to be fine. He's a community builder. He's doing this for the right reasons, and it's going to be awesome.
Hey.
There you go. There you go. So how do you, I know you watched it probably a number of times since, but how do you feel watching it again?
When I initially watched it on the day of, the Thursday, with the mini watch party with the family and friends, I didn't realize how emotional I was going to get watching me up there. And I know because you're such a big fan, I'm such a big fan of the show, and then it's surreal to be on it. And then, of course, just getting on it isn't, you're not going to get a deal. It's not guaranteed. They can roast you. And then it's like even worse because you feel like you embarrassed yourself. But the feedback that I've been getting, just the ability to pitch and then get the deal, it's still, I don't know if it's sunk in fully. I feel like as we start to work together and, as a potential partner with his brand umbrella company, that to me, I want to get through that. So if we successfully get through due diligence and seal it and we're working together, that I feel is going to be the true win. But this has definitely been great exposure. So I would say, man, I don't know how to feel. I can't stop smiling. So I'll just keep it there.
Well, I think one of the dragons said you love your smile. I don't know which one of them said smile. On a scale of 0 to 10, how confident were you that you were going to get a deal before you went on?
You'll see they were filming me like taking a deep breath, and to me the win was getting on the show. So when I was standing there, I realized I'm here. So there's like, they can't say no now. There's no stopping me from walking out the door. So that to me was the win. And if I was to get a deal, that would have been, I would say like icing on the cake. But I knew that there wasn't any question that they were going to ask that was going to throw me off. Because, man, you watch the show so much, you know what they're going to ask. So if you can answer the questions, the only thing I was worried about is, are the dragons interested in helping businesses franchise? Because usually venture capitalists don't really venture into like franchising. But when I found out he was on the panel, I was like, man, if this guy says no, then it's like he wasn't interested in car cleaning. You know, like it would have to be something very specific. So knowing that he was on increased. It went from, I would say, a 6 to a 9 after hearing that he was going to be on.
So you knew who the panelists were going to be ahead of time, correct?
Right. And when we first auditioned, he wasn't announced yet. So we went to audition, and then when we got called back to do the filming, the producer was letting me know, like, oh, do you know who the new dragon is? I was like, oh, no. So he's telling me about Brian Scudamore, and that I was like, oh, he's from the 1-800-GOT-JUNK. So then I was like, yes, because before my target was Jim Trevelling, who used to do the Boston Pizza franchising.
Yes,
interested in franchising, right? So without him, there wasn't, and they've shut down other franchise type companies before. So I was nervous about who would be interested. But when I saw he was going to be on, yeah, I felt a lot more confident.
Was he the person you wanted to do a deal with?
I was definitely targeting Wes a little bit. I feel like that would have made a great story to see. Yeah, just to get into his orbit of the businesses that he's invested in. But yeah, I didn't think he would be interested in the type of company I'm doing, because I haven't seen him like invest in anything similar.
Right.
So I wasn't expecting it, but that would have been. I was actually hoping they would both come in.
Yes, it looked like you were a little bit. It sounded like you were a little bit disappointed when Wes said no.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna ask Brian to come in on the deal. That would have been like over the moon type situation.
And I haven't now, and I've watched it a few times. But did you ever get audio wise what Ms. Dickinson and Brian were saying? Did you hear what they were
trying? I do know there's a part that they cut out that Arlene. Yeah, there was a part that they cut out when Arlene, after they were talking, and after she says that she's out, she says, I won't invest, but I'd be interested in taking over one of the territories as a franchise, a master franchise. She said, oh, I want to handle Vancouver. So they cut that part out. So that's why I feel like it's important to get through this due diligence, because we have a person that if she took over an area in Canada, that would really put us on the map, you know? But yeah, so I think that's what they were talking about. She's like, hey, if you're going to invest, I want in on, you know, running an area. So yeah,
that'd be great,
right? Yeah.
That's fantastic. Okay, some comments here. Sharia says I approve. Alicia is clap emojis. Sharia says wow. Dr. Tachi says good morning.
Yay,
and also,
Dr. Tachi.
Congrats, Ryan. And she also says look at God. And then she says, oh wow. So have you had any chance to breathe since this has happened?
So because a lot of events are happening in September and October, I've been going to different events. One before, like the Philanthropy Foundations of Canada, their conference. So there's when I was telling people I was going on, so getting some excitement. And then after, like this weekend, we were at the Black Women in Tech. So Nobelum's doing a whole Black Women in Tech week. So they brought a delegation down from Jamaica of 5 entrepreneurs. So they were talking about their journey. And so Melissa, she helped us create the delegation for entrepreneurs to go down and pitch. So she announced that, hey, Ryan's in the room. We did the delegation, and he ended up pitching and getting on. So she called me up to talk about it. And then tonight we're supposed to go to one of the NACO events. So that's the National Angel Capital Organization. So ACBN's a member of that org. So hasn't slowed down just yet, but I feel maybe next week it'll be less events, more grind, But there's definitely a few events happening this week. And Elevate is starting tomorrow. So it's supposed to go down because the Black Innovation Zone that's happening.
Yeah, I'm gonna be down there maybe tomorrow, but for sure all day Wednesday for sure. I'm gonna be down there. So Frequency Event Promotion says congrats, and also says hi, Dr. Vibe and Ryan Knight. So you saw it first, folks. And so for people who don't know what Dragon's Den is, in the US, there's a show called Shark Tank. This is the earlier version of Shark Tank, because this show has been on longer than Shark Tank.
Yeah.
It's been longer. So what I'm going to say next, we got more stuff coming in here. Frequency of Rent Promotion says, Ryan, you are showcasing that entrepreneurship is real and necessary. And Dr. Chachi says, this is such big news.
Thanks, Dr. Tachi.
There we go. Okay, so Dr. Tachi says, she says, I knew Dragon's Den, well, correction, and the next time she says first. So she knew Dragon's Den first. So she knew about Dragon's Den before the Shark Tank. Well, Dr. Tachi did her undergrad at the University of Buffalo.
Gotcha. Yes.
So she is aware of that stuff. So family, you saw it. For those who didn't, you saw it first here.
Yes.
So you can say you knew Ryan when. So when he says he can't do the morning vibe anymore, you can say, well, we saw him before you went to.
Hey, and then you'll believe it now. You'll be like, okay, he actually is working on other stuff.
So I've got an ask for you.
All right.
I want to get Mr. Scudamore on this show.
I'll send the ask. Yes.
And where is he based? Toronto or BC?
BC, so Vancouver, I believe he lives out
I don't know if you want to pull him at 6 o'clock in the morning out, but we could pull him outside more decent time. We could have him on the platform and I'd like to get his lens on why he invested in you.
Great.
What we should do is, that's after the deal is signed.
Okay, well then I'll keep you in the loop. But I'll think that, hey, we're looking at having you on the show to gauge the temperature and see what he's thinking.
No problem. Okay, family. That is it. We're going to take a little bit of a break. So we got a two-parter here today, two-part conversation. So we've got another doctor in the house, Dr. Nicola Harris, someone I think you know, Ryan?
Yes.
You know how? Well, we'll find out how you know her in just a moment. We'll be back in 30 seconds. And what we're going to be chatting about today is the situation for older Black adults with the lack of culturally responsive care options for them. So elderly care in the Black environment. So we'll be back in 30 seconds and we'll see if Ryan is still with us or he's called to another appointment, because you never know with Ryan. I'm just jumping everywhere. So we're back in 30 seconds. Primetime Saturday with Aisha and Lala. Join Aisha K. Staggers and Laura Lala Key as they cut through the chaos and make some sense of the nonsense in American news and politics.
But you still got to give him the respect that he has been doing this a long time.
Sharp insights, bold opinions, and a touch of humor. It's the show that keeps you informed and entertained.
Nobody's talking about that. Aisha, that's pretty powerful.
Don't miss Primetime Saturday with Aisha and Lala. Tune in and stay ahead of the headlines. All right, Primetime Saturday on Saturday nights. One other thing, Ryan, are you now going to be coaching people on how to get on Dragon's Den?
Oh, well, we're definitely going to be doing the delegation down again. So we're actually going to send out a form for people to sign up on the wait list so that we know we want to flood it the next time. We want as many Black entrepreneurs going down to CBC studios and auditioning. And hey, the pointers I can give, I definitely can explain the journey from audition all the way to getting a deal. So I'll definitely be sharing my experience and so when we went down the initial time, we were taking videos and So Shireen, we're trying to put together kind of a behind the scenes journey from yeah. So look out for that, and definitely we'll be sharing any pointers I can give.
So if someone wanted to get on there, what would be the first thing you tell them?
Sign up. So you can't get on without the audition. And then once you sign up and commit to going to audition, then working on that 2-minute pitch. So making sure you got your story down. And the story is the big thing that gets the producers engaged. And then from there, it's now being able to answer questions about your business. So you need to know your numbers, what you need the money for, why you chose that valuation, and how you're going to work with the dragons to grow.
All right. We'll continue to chat about this as time goes on, that journey. So, as I said, we have a doctor in the house.
Nice.
Coming to the stage, Dr. Nicola Harris. What is going on, Dr. Harris?
What is not going on? Congratulations to Mr. Ryan Knight. This is awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good morning. So what's going on in your world this morning?
I'm here to talk to y'all about Black seniors, the dire landscape. We got to talk, family.
And for those that don't know who Dr. Nicola Harris is, so she is our co-executive director with ACBN, the Afro Caribbean Business Network, and now has actually taken on the role of the chief operating officer with our Just Like Family franchise. So the franchise ACBN was able to take over in Midtown Toronto. Nicola's actually leading that. So that's why.
What's Just Like Family? What's that all about?
Nicola, you want to give a bit of an overview?
She's
sure.
running.
Yes.
So, Just Like Family is an amazing company that provides specialized home care services for older adults across Canada.
Yes,
and Ryan, I would love for you to share how you came across Just Like Family.
Yeah. So what makes Just Like Family unique is that it's actually owned by the United Church of Canada. So they're the first nonprofit to purchase a franchise, like the actual franchise rights of a company. So they call it a social acquisition. It was the first time done in Canada. So we met Carla, who's running the franchise. I guess she's the franchisor CEO, and talking with her about social enterprise and franchising, we really saw this as an opportunity for ACBN to get a franchise that not only would help with sustainability of operating, so making money and profits, but it's doing something in the community that ACBN wasn't really focused on. We had no engagement with seniors in the community. So being able to now be part of Just Like Family Home Care, which is kind of PSW work for those that are wondering exactly the services that it does. So we go to people's homes to support the caregivers that are usually taking care of their parents and they need a break. So a lot of companionship, tidying up, cleaning, laundry, meal prep, taking them out on outings. So this is a space that I feel ACBN now can engage more with seniors. And that's where we're starting to learn the lack of support that is happening in the Black community, which I wasn't really paying attention to.
So let's do comments and we'll get to Dr. Harris. So Dr. Tachi, going back to saying, love how you plugged ACBN on Dragon's Den. Mignon Cam says, morning. Dr. Tachi says, morning to Mignon Cam, Frequency of Air Promotions. And also Frequency of Air Promotions says, Dr. Tachi, I agree with this statement. ACBN is definitely doing the work. And Frequency of Air Promotions says, Dr. Tachi, good day. Have a productive week. Before we go any further, Dr. Harris, can you share a bit of your background with our family?
Sure. So I am a registered social worker, have been working in that social service work for over 20 years. I have a variety of different kind of areas of expertise, children, youth, and family. And as Ryan has said, seniors haven't always been on my radar, but as older, I feel like I'm getting there, older adult, and I'm in the sandwich generation, so I'm taking care of my parents. I have become more and more invested and committed to seeking viable solutions for our older adults. And I think we don't do a good job of keeping our older adults engaged. We have a lot of skills, knowledge, and expertise, and we're just not tapping into and leveraging this, or the system is not designed to take care of our older adults either.
Okay.
Especially culturally, because the food, I know my dad has told me, don't even try cooking in any home. So knowing that, it's difficult to find
So my first conversation piece are, what are the specific challenges for older Black adults in accessing culturally responsive care?
Sure. So I think let's paint the landscape. I think right now we've heard a lot of information about long-term care. Currently, there are 76,000 long-term care spaces, and we're at full capacity. Ontario in itself needs over 30,000 more spots just to meet the need right now. However, we need an additional 48,000 long-term care spaces if we are going to even tackle what's happening. We also know that there is a growing demand for alternative models of care because long-term care is not where it's at. And we are not seeing in great demand culturally responsive services. So even we know what's happening in long-term care. We know many of the workers that are working in the space, the caregivers are racialized and Black individuals, but we're not seeing the ownership of home care services by Black individuals. So what is that about? There's a number of structural issues that we can talk about, but we need to come together as a community and really think about what we're doing for the community, and is what we're doing right now sustainable?
Well, because it's interesting that it's coming up on us like a wave,
but
we have not really been like forward looking or forward thinking about the boomers are becoming seniors. So they're saying that, at least I saw that there's going to be more seniors than mid-aged people. So that's the 30,000 just to get to treading water, and 48,000 to actually keep up. That is wild statistics.
We have 2.9 million. We're going to have 2.9 million racialized seniors by 2041. 2.9 million.
I think that one of the things that we don't realize, or a number of us don't realize, is baby boomers are not just non-melanated people. Baby boomer impact has been a whole many cultures. Right? Many cultures. We think, when we talk about baby boomers, that's those people who don't look like us. No, we're part of that.
Yeah, we are. And the other thing that I want to bring to the forefront is that specifically with Black seniors, as I'm sure you've talked about many times on your show, there are certain health risks. And one of the things, diabetes and high blood pressure, I want all folks to know that these are risk factors for dementia. So we have a very high proportion of Black individuals that either have diabetes, my mother, and blood pressure, my mother, and my dad has blood pressure. So if that is the case, if we know we're seeing this a little bit earlier, what we have to look forward to is potential a higher risk for dementia. And we know that, dementia, caring for somebody that has dementia can be very, very taxing, both to the immediate caregivers and also to the long-term system. So these are some of the things that we need to think about. Another research study was done recently in the United States with Black older adults. They also found that because Black folk, we deal with a lot of racism and trauma, that also makes us a higher risk of cognitive issues such as dementia as we get older.
Right.
So how does the lack of culturally competent care impact our elders' well-being?
So what we are seeing, and I know I have a lot of anecdotal personal experience, clients, etc., we see a higher rate of decline for older adults because they're in these long-term care facilities that are not culturally responsive. I had a very good friend whose mother died from starvation. To Ryan's point, Ryan's dad's not going to eat, any type of food. And this was my best friend's mom, just slowly withered and died. It's like in 2020 because she refused to eat the food that was in the long-term home in Brampton.
Wow.
Right. So this is very real. And we see a lot of, I'm sure you've seen alerts for seniors that go missing, right? From some of these facilities. My mom was a nurse and my mom had a few residents leave and die from hypothermia because they were trying to get away from the long-term care home. Right.
And you think these are things that are preventable.
Right. Right. And they're not going to put on the media that the reason why this person, left the facility was because of, not being culturally competent or culturally responsive. We're just going to see the end result. Oh, there was an older adult that, died, left the facility. So we need to wake up and we really need to talk more about what we're going to do. Because this is and has been, I think the issue is this has been and it will continue to be a huge issue.
Yeah, and you like the conversation with the family member to explain what happened to their parent, you would think would be so difficult that they would do everything in their power to make sure that they're taking care of a person's parent to a high quality. Yet it's the opposite that we've been
100%. And we know, Ryan, I think it's all about, we talk about representation. And so culturally responsive might not be on somebody else's radar. They might not see that as really important, or it might just be a check mark. It's on my radar, but it's a secondary thought. So this is why representation in this space in terms of leadership, not just the workers, because the workers don't control what type of food, what type of activities and what type of care. They're just following directions from, owners that are, for the most part, white.
And we've seen, I noticed when I go into a long-term care home and it's similar to a hospital. And then, so everything is like, I want to say packaged, but it's like industrial. It's like they just treat it like, oh, we need as much food at the smallest amount of price to keep profitable. So they're not really thinking of customization. They're just thinking of, oh, how can we get the food at the best price?
Right. And it's like a conveyor belt. I had a student talk in one of my classes last week. They are PSW and they are the ones that get the brunt, right? So the family's yelling at them. And the student was saying, I want to spend time with each of my, clients, but I can't because I have to do this conveyor type of care. And it's not because I don't want to, and it's not because I don't realize that these individuals need attention. It's that my job is not set up for that. My job is minimal touch points with these, different clients, and I need to move it along, right?
And I'm not sure if you know the ratio, because I don't remember exactly, but those might know my wife Cher as a nurse, and she would say she wouldn't want to work at a long-term facility because it's like 50 to 1.
Yes.
Like one nurse to 50 patients. Man, what one person could give any amount of time properly to somebody.
100%. And the precarity, we also know that these are racialized individuals that are in kind of these lower paying, work, and they're doing multiple jobs because nobody wants to give somebody full time and have to give benefits and other incentives. So they're working at 4 different places, just trying to hustle to make money. And it's stressful, right? And we saw that with COVID, the amplification of what was already a broken system. And we still haven't woken up to address. I was listening to the radio this morning and they're talking about the nurses continually, the drain of nurses out of the profession. Ryan, I know you can speak more about your wife's experience, but this is real. And if we continue to have people not wanting to work in this system, we can't even talk about culturally responsive services. Right?
Yeah, like who's left?
Exactly.
What impact did COVID have on this situation?
Great question. So I think there was amplification, right, of what happened. But what I have seen in terms of the ownership, so if we talk about ownership, I think private ownership has increased as a result of COVID, right? And people getting into the game, right, for profit, right? And as Ryan was just alluding to, this kind of, leverage kind of care where it's, more of a conveyor belt. And so that is my fear. And I'm not trying to put my parents will not go in a long-term care facility. My mom was a nurse, so there is no way. Right. But I think we also have seen, to your point, Dr. Vibes, now we're seeing more of a proliferation for what are those alternatives. So home care as one that we're talking about today as an alternative, but I think we had a private conversation, Dr. Vibes and I were talking about the value of home care if you can afford it, right? So home care is great. We can provide one-to-one culturally responsive services, but it's not free and it's not accessible, therefore, for everyone. So how do we make this happen? I am a firm proponent. I'm a social justice advocate. We need to advocate to our government. The government doesn't care about older adults. They just don't. And so we need to have policy that has teeth, that can speak to, I was doing some research. California has a great model where they provide funds for caregivers. We know that caregivers spend at least 21 hours a week. And that's me of unpaid work.
Right. So that's the child of the parent.
Exactly. So California has a great model where they're paying for that, and they have seen a decrease in the amount of older adults in their long-term care. So if we want to address this 76,000, issue with spaces not available, that's a quick fix, right? Give money for home care, give money to caregivers to allow that burden. I'm sandwiched, so I have younger kids and then I have older adults. And sometimes it doesn't stretch.
With some comments here, just catching up. Minnie on Cam says, people in poverty is the biggest profit maker opportunity.
Yeah.
Hayden Morrison says, we need to understand that it is an economic system, not a healthcare system.
Yes.
Minion Cam says, it is both. Liquid Green Health says, hi, Ryan. Congratulations on your Dragons accomplishment. And Minion Cam says, older adults and people with disabilities, the government does not care. That's what she has to say. So let me ask Dr. Harris, what does culturally responsive care look like for older Black adults?
So I think, we come together with food. So I think let's start with food, right? I think food is a big part of our identity and a part of our culture. So that would mean, having that at its center. The other piece, I think that in culturally responsive care, specifically for Black folk, is about this notion of community and family, right? And the interconnectedness of our community, and how can we plug our older adults into different aspects of our community so that they're not, at home, not connecting with each other, not doing the things that are indicative of our community. So those are the two big things for me in terms of culturally responsive. I don't know, Ryan, if you want to add.
Well, in the person that's coming representing who they're taking care of is one thing that we've noticed, because people will request, especially with language.
Yeah.
Language being similar so that it doesn't cause that frustration of miscommunication. 100. So when that's not available, like you said, with a person aging but then stressed. So now they're stressed and they have more cognitive decline, whereas it would seem a simple fix to just have somebody come in that eases the person instead of causes more friction.
Yeah. 100%. And I think we think about, I know, my heritage is Jamaican, and a lot of people would say, well, there's not a language issue. Well, when my mom's speaking Patois, although she's speaking English, there can be, differences in the way that you might say things that, again, we know that when people are experiencing cognitive decline, they revert back to the first language and way that they were speaking as a child. So that becomes more and more important. Maybe they were navigating the world and, more Canadianized, but once you get older, you're going to revert back to some of those comfort when you were, younger. And so that does become an issue. Patois is not a specific language, but it is a dialect. It's a way of speaking. And I know when I have representation, I also do counseling, and I've had many, many clients tell me that you just understand, right? Just by looking at my face, there's certain things that I don't need to say, and they don't need to say to me because I understand, right?
And it's the not having to repeat yourself over and over again, even though it seems like it's something simple that you're saying.
100%.
Okay, some more comments. Minnie on Cam says Liquid Green Health Show, and they will think to get the government grants to fund those programs, so the government is always involved. Hayden Morrison says, unfortunately, we don't know the future circumstances may force us to put our parents in the system that we don't care for. And then Liquid Green Health says, forget about government assistance. We need to build our own like other communities. Would love both of you to speak about that.
Yeah, so I think that's what we're talking about, right? So Ryan, share
100%.
your vision for Just Like Family.
Well, one, to make sure that we own more of the territories across Canada. So that way, in areas where it's predominantly a Black community, there would be a Black owner of that franchise. But beyond that, it's really amplifying the conversation. Like, because I don't feel this was on, I would say, our radar, you mentioned it, Nicola, we weren't really facilitating conversations about it with people and a lot of times the entrepreneurs that we're working with are in that sandwich generation. So they're taking care of their parents, but we would never even ask. So now they're stressed out at home, and that's affecting their business. So we would be pressing like, oh, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that for your business? But if we asked holistically, like, what is actually going on in your life? And then we actually have a solution for a person dealing with having to take care of their parents and they need a break and it's just too much. Because that's where Hayton is saying, if your parents get to a point where you actually can't take care of them, sorry, dad, man, like if the dementia is just too much, it's like, and I can't be there and we can't have somebody go there, we're going to have to look at something that we don't actually want. So we don't want to get there. So we want to have these more fulfilling conversations and then offer the solution. I feel like that's the piece that I feel ACBN does well. It's when we see a gap, we're able to say, okay, what's the best way that we can help facilitate this gap? What partners do we have to talk to? And now more people are calling us saying, we're working in that space. We had Peace from Case on the show before. So being able to partner with a person like her, other people that have been thinking, hey, how do we create a facility, a retreat center, an actual long-term care home? Now these conversations are happening more, and the best that we can do to make them happen, that's where ACBN, I feel like we're really happy to be part of those conversations.
Right.
Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's see. Minnie on Kent says, I don't know how my grandma is going to do it. Her brother has just, she is aging and grandpa is showing signs of decline. It's just my dad for her. Yeah, that's not an easy situation. Yeah. I want to ask also, how can care providers be trained to better understand and meet cultural needs?
Great question.
Oh, that's a good
So
point.
I'm always about, as I said, I do teach and I talk to my students all the time about when there's a will, there's a way. And I think right now we saw with COVID, I think everybody remembers one evening we were allowed to roam freely and the next day we were locked down for almost a year. So I'm always about the government can put things in place when there is a will and everybody needs to follow it. So my thing about policy, I do a lot of policy work. There isn't a will. If there was a will to make stringent policies around the other thing, PSWs are not regulated. You know, I'm a social worker. I'm regulated by the college. Ryan's wife is a nurse. They're regulated. So it is by and large an unregulated industry, right? So the government has the ability to put things in place to make certain things mandatory in education, in terms of maintaining your certification. And that's what we need to see the quality of service increase rather than what we see now, that it's for money, it's for profit. People don't have to pay attention to culturally responsive food or language or anything else, because they're not accountable to anybody. They're accountable to their bank book.
And remember, they're at max capacity. So
Exactly.
there's no reason to change, because they'll be like, well, if you don't like it, I'll just move in somebody else.
100%. 100%. And the other thing is, I don't have time to do training because I'm at capacity and I need all my staff to be, working. So these are the things that government can do. And I agree with one of your callers saying that we need to move away from government in terms of their assistance. I agree, but I also think that the government has a responsibility to put a framework in place that everybody must follow. And although equity, diversity, inclusion was quite sexy a couple years ago, it is not sexy right now.
Right.
Okay. What role do community organizations play in supporting older Black adults?
What a great question. Mm-hmm. Part of that, I think I mentioned already, is that advocacy. Ryan spoke about first with advocacy and policy change, you need to raise awareness. So facilitating these types of conversations, but also including older adults. My parents are very vital. They're in their 80s, but they have something to say and they have a lot of thoughts about their care, about who they are and their identity. So would love for community organizations to act as a facilitator for them. They can let us know, what they believe would help them in terms of their journey as they get older. And I don't see as much opportunities for that. The other things that I would mention is technology. Technology is great, but we have a whole generation of folks that are outside of that. How do we bring them in to technology? And one of the services that Ryan and I discussed that we're offering is helping our older adults manage technology. There's a lot of fraud and abuse that happens to older adults. How can we use technology to help better care for our older adults?
Okay. I also want to ask then, what can families and communities, how can they advocate for better care options? We talked at community level, but what can the individual African Canadian do to improve better care for our elders?
Sure. So as I mentioned, I think educate yourself, right? Raise awareness. We all know, we have a government democratic system where, we can go to our members of parliament, elected officials, and share our concerns. That is what speaks, constituents, what their concerns are, writing emails, letters, inviting them to events like this and discussions so they can hear. We have way too many older adults in the system for this not to be a bigger issue to government than it is. We're always talking about long-term care and how horrible it is, but there hasn't been a real will to really do anything about it. We have seen Black entrepreneurs, getting some play. I would love to see Black seniors get $220 million. And for us as a community to talk and decide about how we're going to utilize that money to better care for our seniors that we know are living longer. My grandma's 98. Wow. my dad's 84. My mom's 80 next year. So we got to think about that. We have a lot of benefits here in Canada, which allow, for older adults to live longer. What are we going to do with those older adults as they live longer?
Okay.
Absolutely.
Good stuff. You mentioned about technology. How can it be used to enhance care for our elders?
Oh, perfect question. So one of the ways we haven't talked about mental health in older adults. So I do want to share with your audience that there are huge amounts of mental health concerns with older Black and racialized adults. So, and we already know that there's a stigma in our community already around mental health. And so, number one, we can use technology such as counseling virtually, having appointments virtually, events virtually, so that folks can stay connected. The number one issue for mental health is a lot of times loneliness, not being connected to community. Older adults often have mobility issues. So number one, I think we can use virtual environments. ACBN, we created and developed a virtual reality platform that we brought together so community could come together in that environment and interact with each other for varying events and things like that. That is a way for Nicola as a counselor to, on a daily basis, check in with my clients weekly or whatever. So number one, I think it's about connection. Number two, technology is about education. How can we teach our older adults to use technology to educate themselves on some of the issues and concerns that they have?
Okay. Comment here from Frequency Event Promotion says he's tuning back in. Is there a franchising opportunity for what you're all talking about here?
Oh, Ryan, go ahead. That's Ryan's question.
Yes. So that's where ACBN being connected with Just Like Family. So that is a franchise. So now they have, I think, over 40 territories across Canada, but I think there's over 100 available. So This is now ACBN being able to take on a territory, use that as a model to see, can we actually operate it and it be profitable? Then to go to the broader community to say like, hey, we would love to partner with more people, especially PSWs, to encourage them to now have ownership of the work that they do. Yeah. And then those that are looking to invest but need help with operations, ACBN is looking for more partners so that we can take over more territories. So the answer to your question, yes.
Yes.
Please reach out.
I want to add that we often think that we have to have knowledge. And as Ryan has shared, it wasn't on anybody's radar. So I just want to share that. I think sometimes we think, I don't know anything about older adults. I don't know anything about PSW. I don't know anything about nursing. This isn't for me. This is about ownership of our community resources. So Look at it like that. And if you're committed or invested in our community, owning a franchise will help because it helps with ownership. So Just Like Family has a very comprehensive training modules. They're very supportive. Yes. So don't shy away because you might feel like, I don't know anything about that. You can learn, right? We can learn every day. And I am a social worker, but older adults, again, weren't really on my radar and have never really worked with older adults. It's working with people, right? Mm-hmm. Let's just say we're working with Black people, our community. And that's what drives me. And that's why I'm super excited about this opportunity and hopefully plugging more people in, because this is a crisis. And we do a lot of work with the young folks, and I'm not saying we shouldn't, but we should equally do as much work with older adults, because if it was not for them, we wouldn't be sitting here and having this conversation.
And it's the bookends, right? Like, yes, do work with the younger, but also do work with the older so that it creates a more holistic approach.
100%.
Yeah, there is a retirement crisis going on right now, and people don't realize it, and it's coming fast.
100%. The cost, right? The cost of living. And just for folks to know, like, it costs between $2,000 to $6,000 a month for some of these long-term care facilities. I know I don't have that money to pay for my older adults. And if you have two, I have two older adults that are in their 80s, that would be times two. So we need to think about this kind of stuff now. What is going to be a good option for you? I think home care provides a flexible option, but we also need some support in terms of funds for me being able to do the care that I want to do, but maybe I can't because I have so many other priorities. So we do need government to intervene and provide some kind of recourse. And, you know, if people need respite, some sort of funds, but we also need to think about, you know, when, you know, I'm almost 50 and I still have to pay my mortgage and pay for my, you know, my younger child's education and everything else. Plus, you know, $12,000 for long-term care, not even in my universe. I couldn't do that.
So frequency of approach goes, and do we know the price point it is to?
Yes. So I think minimum is about 50,000. I think max is about 100,000. So depending on the territory, how big it is, it would range. But standard, I would say, to the franchise side of things, it's more now us more thinking of, like Nicola said, being owners. So with the franchise ownership, you're going to hire the people that operate. So knowing that you're going to have that management and the caregivers, and not shying away from now, not thinking of how to do the work, but how to actually manage the work being done. So that's why I always love like the concept of franchising. I mean, we were playing earlier the Dragon's Den thing about Detailing Knights wanting to franchise what we do. So it's stepping out of cleaning cars and now stepping into being the business owner and hiring those that are going to do the work. So it might be a mindset shift for us as a community too, to look at all different verticals and all different industries that we can be owners of, that even though we don't understand exactly how to change a older person's diaper, but it needs to get done. So let's own the actual resources so that we can help our families.
And know your expertise. As Ryan said, you don't have to necessarily know how to change a diaper, or older adults, because I don't. But I can hire somebody who has education and who is trained to do that. But the other thing with leadership and ownership is now you have the ability to impact change, right? So now you have the ability to embed culturally responsive services and care about that because you're the owner. Right? So this is why ownership and leadership in this space is so important. It's not so much about the day-to-day, it's about the policy. Now we're going to be owners and we're going to be having the ear of government to advocate on issues that are affecting our community, as opposed to being out of the policy discussion because we're not at the table, because we don't have any ownership of our assets and resources.
And I mentioned the diaper thing because a lot of times we think of things that we don't want to do. So then we dismiss the entire industry. And it takes a very special person. I mean, I look at my wife and what nurses do. There's very special people that care about humanity so much that they're willing to do whatever it takes to care for those that need it. But just because others have that, and let's say I don't, doesn't mean I shouldn't care about those that are in hospitals, seniors, people that need that help because I don't know how to do it. We have to start thinking very macro level. And it's like, no, we need to be involved because we're going to be soon in that stage. And if we didn't fix, you know, the way that these places run, we're going to be there sitting like, man, this sucks. Why is it so terrible? But it was terrible before and we weren't engaged.
Yes. And I think generationally, I don't know that these generations that are coming behind us are gonna be taking care.
They need guidance.
They need guidance. And so we gotta think about that because yes, we still have the mindset we want to take care of our parents, but these youngins, I'm not 100% sure if we don't give guidance, that's gonna be the case.
Okay, just to continue, because and that's why the relationship with one's children is so important, because if you don't have a good relationship with them, do you think they're going to help take care of you when you advance in age? So that's a whole other conversation. Let's catch up on some takes here. Liquid Green Health Show says, Training other cultures to attend to your needs is a difficult barrier to cross. This amplifies the need for our own facility. Full government cooperation is not going to happen in a hurry. Minion Cam says a lot of talk about policy. Is there a petition letter going to members of parliament? Frequency Event Promotion says, silly question. Is there a franchising model to run a PSW staffing agency exclusive for Afro-Canadian senior population, or did I miss the mark on this?
The only thing I would push back on is that you want, as a business, to pull from all pockets of money. So although it does sound great to say like, hey, we're going to create a PSW agency that only works with the Black community, by all means, that is a target that is needed. Yet, that is now putting yourself in the box to not make maximum amount of dollars. So you want to be able to service those that need it, but also now we have the ability to target those that may have had barriers or are struggling culturally. So it's not to say create something new that's going to put you in a box. It's to say be part of the broader macro industry and know that we can focus and do something a lot better so that it becomes where Black seniors and people that have parents want to go. So we become that area of choice, but I wouldn't block it off. I don't know, Nicola.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I think to your point about being a model, then you can be a model for other, white dominant companies, right? So developing a model doesn't prevent your case study, doesn't prevent that learning, because we are a case study and these are our learnings. And I think that's some of the conversations we've been having, because that's what government and or other folks listen to. Data,
right.
Real life hard facts. And so if we can present and develop this story and information, we can disseminate it nationwide, if not, internationally, right?
Okay.
Absolutely.
Minion Cam says, I know senior care is coming. I see with people on Ontario Disability Support Program, they're being shuffled into government program to government program.
Right.
She says, I just Googled senior care franchises. It looks interesting. She also asks, what is provided for older adults without family or adult children taking care of them?
Nothing.
Wow.
Nothing. So that's part of the issue. And for folks like me who have brushed up against it, I realized this was an issue when my parents turned 65 and they were getting, many of you might have exposure, their retirement. And we know how much it costs to live. And there's no way my parents would have been able to live independently with what they were getting. And both of them, my mom was a nurse, my dad was, a worker with the city of Toronto. So pensions were not ridiculous, but there's no way. And I know if it's $4,000 a month, my mom would just make $4,000 a month. So we're talking about between $4,000 to $6,000 for long-term care. She wouldn't be able to pay that on her own, gotcha. Right? So these are the things that we need to. I know we get a baby bonus or whatever it's called right now. I would like money to go towards caring for my parents. That would be helpful, right? Because that would help me in real time, rather than having the responsibility to juggle, all of these different things. But we don't have that.
Okay. Hayton Morrison asks, Ryan, did you say that the franchise entry fee is $50,000?
Yeah, I think I've seen the minimum for this specific one is 50.
Yeah.
And then it goes up.
And Minion Cam says to Hayden, yes, a quick Google search will show you different franchises available. Liquid Greenhouse says, very good information topic today, Dr. V. We need more conversations this arena. We will. Yes. Frequency Event Promotion says, sorry, I was not speaking good English here. I was more referring to what service is your franchising piece running? A brick and mortar for senior occupants?
No. So it's home care. So our caregivers are going into homes. So no, there's not a brick and mortar. And this is also, I think, the great part of this home care business is we're providing customized, flexible care for individuals, right?
Okay. Mina and Cam says they briefly had a caregiver benefit during the pandemic.
Yeah, briefly.
And then they took it away? What?
Yeah, briefly. Yeah.
That's wild. They really have no will.
So I want to ask too, how can younger generations support older Black adults in accessing appropriate care?
Ooh. So, Ryan, do you want to take this one? I have my thoughts.
Well, looking at taking the break for caregivers, that's where identifying ways that you can introduce support early. And a lot of the presentations that we do, it talks about just living at home longer and looking at different ways to offset things that you weren't able to do. So if I'm now, my parents starting to decline, I would be looking at what can I introduce maybe before they start to decline?
Yes.
What are things that they like to do? I know my dad's had surgery on his wrist. So things outside like gardening or cleaning the car, doing cutting the grass, those might be things to start thinking about. Like, how do you send somebody to assist so that your parents get comfortable with other people coming in and helping? That is one thing that I know the pride of Jamaicans tend to shy away from. Oh, I don't need help. I don't need anybody to come here. So the earlier that we can introduce that help is there, and it's not to say that you're feeble, it's to say, let's help you keep doing what you love to do, so that again, we're all going to get older. The decline is going to happen. It's inevitable. Then you can increase the amount of support without having to introduce support when it's dire, and then it becomes such friction because the person is resistant. So I would say start to look at how do you introduce support earlier.
And to just a couple with that, I would also think about finances. And so having those conversations, especially when you have siblings. I'm an only child, so I don't necessarily have to worry too much about that. But for folks who have siblings, think early about who's doing what, looking at your parents' finances to see, will it be manageable? Well, folks need to add in and talk about it before, as Ryan says, because when it's a crisis, emotions are high. We all know, research tells us it is not good to make decisions when emotions are high, especially real life transitional decisions. So have a plan in place before it gets to the point. And as Ryan, I would agree with Ryan, introducing and positioning it, because we also know the number one concern for older adults is lack of interaction, community. And so, even positioning a home care, somebody coming for 4 hours just to talk, yes, maybe they're going to help tidy up, but don't tell the caregiver that. Just say, this person's going to come just to check in on you, see how you're doing, etc. But in the meantime, maybe there's other things that they can do. So I think finances, we don't talk enough about that. And people are very, I don't want people to know about how much money I'm making and blah, blah, blah. But we have to have conversations, because that's what it boils down to, money. And if we don't have conversations about money, it can cause more rifts and conflicts, as Ryan has stated.
And when we talk about rifts with siblings, when one or two siblings are doing more work than the other siblings, that causes a lot of stress. And then the parent puts the one not doing work as the power of attorney. And man, we've seen and we have heard so many stories about care causing family dysfunction. So you want to have these discussions. And again, as I'm talking it, I realize I need to have this conversation with my siblings, because there's 4 of us. And we haven't really talked about what's going to happen. And because we're lucky in a sense, usually our parents are younger. I mean, my mom had me when she was 15. So she's still just 55 and relatively young, that you don't think you have to have this conversation. But 10, 20 years from now, it's going to happen. And we didn't talk about it. So,
But I'd argue, Ryan, so I think we think that. So there's a false sense of 55. I'm not far off from there. But I remember my mortgage broker said something to me. It was very impactful. You don't know, I've seen this, and I have many experience of this. Somebody just has a stroke. And so they were very vital today, but tomorrow they're not.
Total shift.
Right? So, I mean, we know there's lots of people that have heart attacks, strokes at 40, right? And so I think we have this false sense of, and I was like that with my parents, they were really vital and very energetic until they're not, right? And so you look and you're like, oh, they're fine. And then tomorrow something happens and they're not. So I think by like 45-ish, you should be having those kinds of conversations, because there is a broad range, and we know that Black folk, we're under more stress, we have more physical issues. It can happen to us very early and very quickly. So yeah, don't sleep on having those types of discussion. And wills, I know this is another one. Wills and power of attorney, I recently did it with my dad kicking and screaming, but like I said, I'm not gonna
get done.
Yeah, we need to get this done. So
okay. You guys are just blowing up the comments section, so let me catch up here. Minnie on Cam says, so it's a mobile. Is it a mobile
yes.
home care service? All right. She also, Frequency Event Promotion says, okay, customized home care service, great viable business and safeguard for the elderly. He also says, Dr. Vi, Brian, and Dr. Nicola, keep up the great work. Minnie on Cam says it was called Canada Recovery Caregiving Benefit. The last date shows July 2022.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wild that they would bring it in and then take it out.
Yeah, and then she says, we can barely get the older generation to plan a will.
Yes.
Ryan, it says, Frequency says, Ryan will say it first. On my reading, quote, and Entra, unquote, are now the only books on franchising. Have a good day, y'all. Dr. Vibe, you made my day. I will connect offline. Good day, sir. Okay. Minnie on Cam says, will and estate planning, high superstition in that subject. Frequency Event Promotion says, I acknowledge what you are saying here. Trust me. Okay. Frequency on Cam says, Minnie on Cam says, Frequency Event Promotions. I watched my family fight over my mother's mom, and it was awful to see. And she ends off saying, multiple MS hit me in my 20s. My entire future planning has changed, and I can't depend on the government, and none of us should.
Yeah, no.
None of us should. None of us should. Any last comments? You guys were rocking the house today.
No, I just think so grateful to have the opportunity to share space with the two of you. Keep up the great work. And yes, we need to have more of these discussions.
Dr. Harris, where, if anywhere, can people get a hold of you, Dr. Harris? Because you seem to be incognito. So tell us.
I need to get on Ryan's LinkedIn game. Ryan's been sharing with me. So you can find me through ACBN. Email me at ACBN, or just like family, Midtown East. You can
hold on. Okay. What's your ACBN email address?
So Nicola.Harris at acbncanada.com.
Canada.com. All right. So we are going to do this. We are going to first do this. Let me get this done. All right. Cancel.
And as you're pulling that up, I'll let people know that they can follow this journey of ACBN taking over the Just Like Family franchise. We actually did a partnership with a platform called Go Parity. So people from the community can invest in us taking over the franchise. So there's a video on YouTube. I'll put it into the Discord chat that we have that does explain kind of why we're taking over the franchise, how you can invest. And I think they give you $50 to start. So we want more people to be able to have kind of that skin in the game with what we're doing. And it's a small investment. You'd get a return on it. And beyond that, look at taking over your own franchise. Like I would say, if you're looking for an opportunity that would bring in revenue and be part of supporting seniors in the community, this is one of the good opportunities out there. So we'd be able to walk you through what we experienced and then support you getting into it too. Yeah. And one last thing, ACBN, we're also working on kind of a mini survey just to put out to our network to see, are there people that are currently caregivers and taking care of their parents, just to get a sense of how many people are in that situation and the support that they might need. So we've been kind of putting together that survey. So stay tuned for that, Gornell. And then we're going to be able to share the results and hopefully come up with some solutions too.
Okay. All right. This is good. Good final comments. Dr. Harris, always a pleasure to be in your presence. Long time. Let's not make it such a long time. And I think in this area, like many areas, when it comes to African, Canadian, African Americans, if we're going to move forward, it's we that's got to do it. We can't depend on the government. It's we've got to take charge of this. So that's the way to move it forward. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy, and remember to give yourself grace and blessings to your parents.
Thank you.
Have a good day. All right. That is another good conversation. I think that's like 2 conversations we've had this month about elderly.
Yeah, see it? We're even picking up the pace to make sure it's a conversation we cover.
It's a real important thing. I will say if you know people in that situation, compare elderly that have to be in homes compared to elderly that have 24/7 care at home. I have a gentleman who transitioned out, but he had 24/7 care in his home, and I definitely thought it extend his life 3 or 4 years. But he set himself up financially to do it,
to be able to have that support. Right.
Never had to go in the hospital or anything like that. 24/7 care. So whoever you know that's in that situation, have a conversation with them and say, "Hey, do you want to end well?"
Yeah. And where do you want to end? Because
exactly,
it's so easy, especially if they're on their own. The system just takes over. It's like ambulance, hospital, and the government. Now you're just going through the motions. But if you plan it, then like you said, you can be where you want to be with the support that you need.
Well, there's a book I know that I read. One of the lines in it says, "Pride comes before the fall."
Okay. Yes.
I'll just leave it at that.
Yes.
All right. Oh, so a few other things. Let's just close up shop today. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe channel on YouTube and hit the notification button. Share it out. Follow the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Advertise your business product or service on any of the platforms I'm involved in. Email me dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. Join the Discord group, and one of the reasons why this conversation is going to be posted there, and I think a lot of richness out of this. So email me if you want to do that. And again, if you are watching this before 9 p.m. Eastern Time on October 1st, we are hosting the U.S. VP Debate Party Watch tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah.
Quite successful. I'm sure this one will be too. So we've got very intelligent people coming on. And always, you can watch the replays of this epic conversation on the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, Afro Caribbean Business Network on Facebook, and Ryan Oneil Knight on YouTube. What do you have planned for the rest of this week, man?
Well, I'm looking forward to the debate. I'm curious, what could Vance say to top his boss? What can he say that will top, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats? He has such a tall order to stay relevant. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. The rest of the week,
you're being elevate.
Yeah, I'm gonna head down there, and yeah, looking forward to this.
More meetings.
If you're going to Dr. Umar happening, he's gonna be at First Fridays downtown at the Real Jerk, and in Durham, I forget
Sunday.
On Sunday, yes.
Yeah.
So for those that. And they're still saying we'll see if he shows up, but if he does, it'll be, I think, the first time he's been back to Canada since 2012. So that's what I've been seeing online. So yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Conversation.
Oh, so an FYI to everyone, we will not be doing a live show on Friday. We'll be running a repeat on Friday. I am actually going to be sharing at a conference out of town on Friday and Saturday. So we'll be doing a repeat on Friday. So I won't be able to catch Dr. Umar if I feel like doing that on Friday and Sunday. We'll see. There's been some interesting conversations I've been involved with on the back channel about him and others like him. That was probably, well, I'll say on Monday of next week, I'll share some of the comments. I won't say who made them. And I'd love to get your feedback on that. So everyone, I hope you have a fantastic week. Share it out. As always, And I haven't been saying this lately. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. And don't just manage your time, manage your energy. And remember to give yourselves grace. Minnie on Cam has 2 more comments. We need to know what private 24/7 care cost is. Not 4/7, 20, and plan out to have it. Yes, she did say 24/7 care. All right. So we've done, family. Have a great week. And if you want to get Ryan's thing, if you want to watch it again, go to the Discord group and you can watch it.
Excellent.
That's a reason to be there. All right. All the best, everyone. Take care. Be well and keep the faith.